What's going on, everyone? So, Scream 7 is set to come out sometime in 2025. At least that's the plan. We'll see if that actually happens, if it actually does come out in 2025, or they wait for maybe early 2026. But the goal is to get this movie out ASAP. Um, it's very interesting because the Spyglass, Paramount, and everybody, they could have just packed it in, right? They could have just said, hey, look, everything that happened with Melissa, everybody leaving, right? Let's just take a little hiatus. Let's just take a little break. We can maybe touch base on Scream again relatively soon. But no, they decided we're still going to continue. We're still going to go according to plan. We're still going to go the direction of getting another film out. And it's something that I fully expected. Um, you got to keep in mind, Spyglass and all that, they paid like 500 million for Scream. Now, they also got other stuff in the catalog, but Scream was the big prize, right? That was the thing that was supposed to be the big moneymaker. They also want to do a series, right? Like they have plans for Scream. So they weren't just going to stop and go on a little hiatus. I mean, they wanted this movie out this year, right? But because of the little hiccups, they now are going to move it to next year. And they would have had an easy out. They would have had an easy excuse to kind of just give it a little break. But to me, this signals that they're going to, like, Scream 7 is probably not going to be it, right? They're going to very likely continue. Now, Sidney Prescott is back. Nev Campbell has returned. They're in talks with Courtney Cox, Gail Weathers, right? We'll see if Patrick Dempsey and stuff like that. We'll see how this shapes up, what ends up happening. But there's already rumors that if this movie goes well with Sidney, that they will plan to make more films with Nev, right? Like the goal is like, hey, let's bring Nev back, see how this goes. And then if it goes well and this movie has success like the other two, then let's just keep Nev on board and let's pump out some more films. So as long as Nev is willing to do it, they're probably going to keep making movies. And they'll probably release these every year for the next 70+ years. Right? Because one of the things about Scream is you could theoretically go forever. Like every year you could pump out a new Scream movie if you wanted to, for now until the end of time, as long as they're having success, right? As long as people are showing up and going to the box office. And we've seen franchises have like insane runs of year after year. I mean, like Saw and Paranormal Activity and stuff. I mean, they had like a 10-year stretch of like every Halloween or every October you got a Saw movie, or you got a Paranormal Activity movie. Like you could do that with Scream, where like every year you're getting a new Scream film, or maybe you separate every 2 years or whatever, and you just kind of draw this out and you get another 10. Because with Ghostface, it's always somebody different, right? It's never the same person. So like it's not a Michael where, okay, we killed Michael, now what? Okay, well, now we have to like reboot everything and we have to like retool the franchise, right? You don't have to do any of that stuff. You're in a position to where, okay, we can just tell a new story with a new motive and a new reason and whatever. Now, obviously, you want to keep and maintain a level of freshness. You want to keep and maintain a level of like just creativity, right? You don't want there to just constantly being rehashes, which is kind of what 5 and 6 was in a lot of ways, just like kind of a rehash of the original Scream and Scream 2. I'm not really huge on that personally. Some people I know don't mind, but it's also one of those things where it's like, I just feel like there's so many things that you could still do with Ghostface and Scream that I'd like, some creative stories. Nev's back, Sidney's back. I am of the camp of like, I wanted them to move off of her. But given the circumstances, given the situation, I get it. Okay, fine. I'm okay with it. Let's go, right? Not that they care what I personally think, but my thoughts is like, okay, you had this thing happen, you regrouped, you got Nev back. Okay, now what are you going to do, right? How are you going to tell a good story? Because you haven't done a good job with the OG characters thus far. Now with the signing of Kevin Williamson as the director gives me a little more faith, because these were his characters and he has familiarity with them. He understands them. He's the one that wrote and basically built them. So he may have a better understanding of how to continue to grow them and develop them, where, you know, Spyglass, Paramount, and all the writers and stuff, they might not be able to, because it's not their characters, right? They're trying to write a story on characters that they aren't necessarily familiar with, that they didn't write the last previous films and stuff. So they're like, great example is the Dewey and Gale story, right, in Scream 5. If you really look at those two characters, they basically reversed their story, right? Because Gale, she was the one that always left. Dewey was the one that was always chasing. Dewey was the one that would move heaven and earth to go wherever Gale is and do whatever Gale wants to do, right? Gale was the one that went to Woodsboro and was miserable. And I mean, she did it multiple times. I mean, even in Scream 3, we get that dialogue in the little cafe or whatever, right? Where she's like, you know, days felt like years in Woodsboro. I needed to get out. It was 60 minutes too, right? Like, that's Gale's character. So I'm hoping that, one, they can expand, grow, develop Sidney and Gale and kind of move this going forward. Also, the new characters, right? You're going to have new characters. You have to hit on them. Scream 5 did not do a good job whatsoever at building and developing characters. I mean, even Gale and Sidney, it was terrible. I mean, so much so, the consensus at the time was that Sam was terrible and they need to get rid of her, right? And then you saw in Scream 6, and they did a little better of a job, and people came around because it was like, oh, she had more material, right? Like, people were talking about how terrible of an actress she was, and it wasn't her. It was the source material. Like, actors and actresses only have what they have to work with. And it was just terrible how they developed them and how the story went and how they approached it, right? It was just like, come on, can we do something, right? But with this upcoming film, you're going to introduce some new characters. You got to hit on those characters, especially if you plan on making more Scream films, which, again, I fully believe that they intend on doing. I think that we're going to get a handful of movies. They're probably going to have to make another handful of movies just to break even on the money that they spent for the rights of Scream. So they're probably several movies away from even just getting their money back for that. Because even though Scream 5 and 6 look successful, still got to factor in all of the costs, the splits for the theaters, right? Like, they didn't make a ton of money off of Scream 5 and 6. They probably need another 5 films just to break even. So we're probably getting through Scream 10, right? So, but that's fine. And I'd be all for that. I'd love that. Bring it on. Let's do it. But you got to have good story and you got to have good characters. So whatever characters you're going to introduce, you got to make sure you develop them right and you got to make sure they hit, right? Because you have an opportunity, like, they could easily launch an entirely new trilogy, right? Even if the goal isn't to do more films with Nev, right? You could still launch, you could have this be the groundwork and then the passing of the torch film. Go and build an entire new series with these characters, right? If you hit on them. Or if you want to keep Sidney around, you keep Sidney around and still do a trilogy with these characters. Again, if you hit on the characters. So that's the thing. Like, to me, a lot of this hinges not just on Nev Campbell and Sidney Prescott, which, however, I guess you can make the argument that as long as Sidney's good in this film and as long as they do something with her, then they could just keep making Sidney movies. But at some point, it's like, come on, we got how many people want Sidney dead? I get, like, Ghostface, Sidney's the white whale. Every Ghostface is going to want her dead. But how many are actually going to take time to, like, go after her and target her when it's like, man, she's gone through 15 Ghostface and no one's been able to kill her. Maybe I should just leave her alone and go work these other people over here, right? Like, so that way I can maybe get away with it. Right? It's just, after a while, it's like, all right, come on, right? But again, if you set up a proper trilogy here, that makes sense and leads into future films, and you're kind of laying the groundwork and foundation of something bigger. It's like, okay, you could draw out 3-4 films with Sydney, and it all just kind of ties in, and it's not this like hodgepodge mess, right? It's not like, okay, we get it. No, like if you lay the cult route, and you have the establishment, and you have all these various Ghostface, and these Ghostface want Sydney and want these new group of characters for whatever reason, or maybe there's a tie-in or connection or whatever, right? Then cool. You could, again, storytelling and character development and all of those factors could go a long way, but you kind of get that right. Well, then there you go. Now you could set up, okay, well, this one's the introduction. You have these Ghostface. At the end, you find out that there's a cult. Part 2 is them kind of, the second film is them kind of navigating and trying to find out who's the leader. Let's take down the leader to end this, right? If we, take off the head of the snake, then we're good, right? And then you have the big showdown, the Thanos level showdown at the end. That's something that they could do. But I don't know. I think that we're probably going to see at least 3 more films. I think you get a movie in 2025, and then I think you'll probably get one in 26, 27. Maybe they do like a year in between or something like that, which, again, I'm all for. Yeah, I love me some Scream, right? Obviously. I essentially built a channel around it. So I'll take some Scream. Give me some good old Scream, but it's got to be good, right? I don't want just, here's another Scream film just for the sake of a Scream film. And it's like, this should be straight to VHS or streaming, right? Like, this is terrible. It's just like, this is awful, right? So they do it right. Cool. Bring it on. Let's keep going. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How many Scream films do you think that we get? Do you think that they stop here? Do you think that, no, there will be, they'll probably go through 10, 11 plus? Do you want them to go through that many? Do you think no? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos. I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.